Meta has been in the news for quite some time now regarding a few different things, most recent of which is the decision by Zuckerberg himself to announce that Meta will be introducing community notes to its platforms Instagram, Facebook and Threads, if anybody remembers that one. This is a page taken straight from the Book of X, where community notes have been implemented in one form or another since 2021. Indeed, it seems the Zuck has seen the shift in American politics and has instructed Meta to act accordingly. But this isn't the only reason why Meta has been rearing its face in the news, far from it, and the consequences of its actions may be detrimental in the future. But if I'm not referring to community notes, what the hell am I talking about? Well, I'm talking about Meta's previous decision to begin the development and rollout of so-called AI profiles. Now, what's important about this is that in January of 2025, Meta was rolling out these Cyberpunk dystopian AI user accounts, and then just a couple weeks later into the whole thing, immediately began to retract them all from all of their platforms after many of the users who found these AI accounts cried foul at Meta for introducing them in the first place. As a result, Meta pulled the plug on the whole thing and yoinked them. But this isn't as open and shut as it may seem. Meta has most definitely, well, probably, put a lot of brainpower into this, and they aren't going to give up that easily. It might not be Meta to introduce the next iteration of these AI-powered users on a social media platform, but rest assured, I can almost guarantee it will happen again on another major platform soon. That's not to say this entire idea of rolling out AI users was a good one. Far from it. First of all, one of the main reasons why Meta was even considering doing this in the first place was to drive up engagement on its arguably dying platforms. Facebook is the one that comes to mind when saying that. Now, if we think about this for a little longer than 3 seconds, we begin to understand the lunacy of this decision. Platforms care about engagement. That is to say, the comments on posts, likes, shares, reposts, direct messaging, basically anything you can do on the platform counts as engagement. This engagement is what advertisers look for when they pay for their products or services to be advertised on a social media platform. It is a key metric to determine how well their advertisement campaign is doing or could potentially do. And in introducing a cyber boatload of AI-powered users onto the platform, sure, you could ensure that those AI accounts don't interact with marked or official advertising posts, but the macro metrics of the platform as a whole will look much more inviting to advertisers than if you only counted those engagement metrics on the platform between actual human accounts. It's the dead internet theory on steroids, where we have bots interacting with bots, advertising to bots, etc, etc. It's using the bots to pump up the numbers that on platforms like Facebook are going down. In the same vein, will it actually come to bots talking to bots, etc, etc? Personally, I don't really see that as being financially viable as a business model for these multi-billion-dollar companies, but I can definitely see an increase in bot accounts dilating the pool of genuine human interactions on social media, which, if you might have forgotten, was the entire point of social media in the first place. To facilitate the interactions between people through posts, comments, direct messaging, etc. The idea of introducing AI accounts to increase engagement just defeats that whole idea altogether. But what about Meta's decision to turncoat the American political establishment? It wasn't that long ago that Meta, along with other social media platforms, seemed like they were all for centralised fact-checkers on slightly divisive posts, policing who can say what about what and when. Meta, in my opinion, was among the most guilty when it came to this. They embraced the process of making themselves the arbiter of truth. But, all of a sudden, Zuckerberg discovers a gym and spawns in with a perm hairstyle and chain. Sounds pretty sus. I don't think we are witnessing a grand awakening or opinion-shifting Meta here. This is all to do with business, of course. Zuckerberg could see where the pendulum of American politics was swinging and acted accordingly in order to place his business on the right foot to ensure the future stability of the company. After all, having Donny T hate your platform isn't exactly the most useful or profitable way to run your business. All it would take is one stroke of his pen after mid-January and poof, regulated into oblivion, or in the case of old Zucky Boy here, a possible Donny T imposed prison sentence. Facebook/Meta and basically every other popular social media platform have had a rich history when it comes to regulating content on their platforms. For years, certain topics of discussion were outright banned unless you took a specific viewpoint on it. If you found yourself expressing certain opinions on Facebook, for example, you could soon find your account either suspended or banned, and, well, depending on where you live, the police rolling up to your door. The true Brit-bong moment. But none did it like Twitter. Around the time Elon Musk was purchasing the platform, it was revealed, although everybody already knew, that users who were slightly spicy with their posts weren't always necessarily being suspended or banned, rather shadow banned. A secretive system that other platforms have almost certainly implemented as well, such as YouTube or Meta Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook, or, Threads, but yeah, nobody uses Threads. But now, with the Turncoat Meta taking strides in pursuit of freedom of speech and expression on the entire spectrum of opinions, what is next? Well, in the video released by Zucky Zuck Zuck just a couple days ago, we see that he takes aim at certain governments around the world that are making attempts to silence dissent by way of restricting freedom of speech and expression online. Now, if I may, some very good examples of this would be Britbong land, where, depending on how close you are to certain medical facilities, you can be stopped by the police, asked what you're thinking about, and if you say you're praying to a certain singular god of the most practiced religion on earth, you can be detained or arrested. Truly an Airstrip 1 classic. I've seen some posts online while I'm, embracing the brain rot on Instagram Reels that have compared arrests made for social media posts. They're comparing Brits to those who live in Russia, and the number they've supplied is the people arrested in the UK for social media posts or comments that they've made is around 3,000, and that's compared to the Russian number, which is at 400. I've got to be honest, I've got no idea of the validity of those numbers, but honestly, having someone arrested for a comment online at all is pretty mind-boggling. There are cases where people should be imprisoned for posts they make public online, depending on the content shared, of course, absolutely. But we all know governments around the world, like Australia, Britain, Germany, etc., overextend their judiciary powers when it comes to posts made online by the general public. It's only in the US where you have the good old American Constitution, where you're guaranteed legal protection. But overall, I think we are going to see a more objectively free social media for the next couple of years, at least within the US. However, for countries abroad where the subsidiaries of these social media platforms are under the jurisdiction of governments that aren't so cozy up to absolute freedom of expression or speech, regardless of the opinions they take on, I think it's going to get a lot more restrictive and quite a bit more dangerous. But then again, only time will tell. Let's hope we don't end up with some AI-powered cyberpunk dystopia that reports everything you post online to GCHQ. What do you think about this entire situation? Because for me personally, I think America is going on the up and up. I think they're really embracing the true American freedom, the true power of the Constitution when it comes to freedom of speech and freedom of expression, whereas over here, at least in Britbong land, it's not looking so rosy. We've got the next 4 years with what's turning out to be quite a dodgy government. But what do you think? Let me know what you think in the comments. Subscribe if you enjoyed this video. What do you think about this entire situation? Is Meta becoming based, or do you think it's all political manoeuvring? Make sure to comment your thoughts in the comment section down below. Like the video if you liked it, and thank you very much for watching. I'll see you in my next video.